Hi, y'all. We're back again today. This episode is going to be on making your homemade scrubs from scratch with stuff that you find in your kitchen, of course, your everyday stuff. It's nothing fancy. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money on it because, like I said, it's something you may have in your kitchen shelf already. If not, I'm sure you can buy it at Everything's a Buck. Okay, so here we go. Enjoy a day at the spa at home. Save over $150 by treating yourself to your homemade face and body scrubs. Okay, the first up, we're going to remove this one. And this here is a lemon honey skin scrub. Brightens and exfoliates your face. You'll need 4 teaspoons of lemon juice, um, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 cup of honey. Apply to damp face, work in and leave 3 minutes and rinse face well. It may be applied like 2 times a week, or unless you got really sensitive skin and you use other cleansers, then I would suggest once a week. But this is what you'll need. You'll need 1 cup of honey, um, baking soda, that's 2 teaspoons, and this here is the lemon juice, and it will activate because that's a cleansing agent. Okay, you just give this a good whirl, mix it in and incorporate it very well. Make sure all of that is mixed in with your honey, and these here always do really well for me. I don't spend a whole lot of money on facial cleansers. I like Elizabeth Arden, but she is a little pricey. But this is the next best thing. Can you imagine back in the 1800s they probably did do this because they didn't have a whole lot of skin products back then, I don't believe. If they did, only the wealthy had it. So you can imagine that most of the women in the villages probably did use this kind of stuff to cleanse their face. They say they used to use mud and clay. So I'm pretty sure that those work very well too. But for the purpose, we don't have a whole lot of clay where I live. This will work just fine. Okay, I'm going to wipe that off a little bit because I've got another scrub I'm going to be using this for. Alright, and when you get done mixing this, after it's mixed very well, you'll want to take and put it into a mason jar with a lid, of course. And I used this pure raw honey in this recipe. So, anyway, we are going to move along here. Get this kind of out of the way. And bring up our other recipe. And this one here is a lemon sugar scrub. It's 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 1 teaspoon of lavender seeds, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, zest of lemon to the like amount. I mean, if you like yours to smell really lemony, then, more zest. Soak lavender in lemon juice about 10 minutes to soften them. Now, if you do not know where to get these from, this here is lavender, and they're little seeds, and I just had my bag and I don't know where I set it. Let me back up over here and grab it. They're little seeds, and I got these from Natural Groceries. They're a big outlet. I'm sure you've heard of them. If you haven't, you can try the farmers markets. Goodness, and a lot of times they'll have them. But you'll want to take and soak that in the lemon juice for about 10 minutes to soften them, because they're kind of a coarse seed, and that way when you put it into the sugar, it's a little more manageable instead of having these big crunchy pieces running around. Alright, so I'm going to walk through real quick with this one. This here, I've already got my sugar and my zest and my Louisiana coconut oil. This is what I used, Louisiana coconut oil. I melted it in the microwave for like 20 seconds. And, of course, the zest from the lemon. If you don't know how to do that, you have to have one of the scrapers for zesting. And like I said, I just zested it to my smell. You know, you can use whatever you want. And you're going to need a mason jar. And so anyway, we've got all of the stuff already in there except for the seeds. So, because the seeds are sticking because they have the lemon juice on them. So let me scrape this off a little bit. And you see it, that's got, I don't know if you can see it on this, the way I got the camera and I'm holding it. But let's just say for purpose, I'm going to do it this way. It's kind of hard to hold that and do that at the same time. But that's kind of got like a purple thing to it, a purple tint because of the seeds. And since you use coconut oil in there, it won't give it that yellow tint like, you know, olive oil tends to do. So, and you just mix that up very well and incorporate those seeds into the mixture. And you will have your homemade scrub. And if you want to color these, you can. You know, just a tad of food coloring. You don't need a whole lot because you don't want to dye anybody's skin. But these here look really pretty in the jar without any coloring to them, I think. But that's just me. And just any type of jar will do. And I just happen to have a couple extra little mason jars left, so that's why I'm using those. And you see I've got that all incorporated in there, and it looks really nice. That's going to look really nice when I put it into the jar there. Now, for an extra touch, since this is like a body scrub, this is just my preference. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it because I like my stuff to smell very well. You can buy essential oils as well and do this, but I found just by taking and doing a couple of squirts of that, which this is a body spray, so the smell will probably last a little bit once I get it into the jar, but it don't take a whole lot, just one squirt, maybe two at the most. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, and like I said, I got these at Natural Groceries, and they're lavender flower, and they're just the seeds. They're not very expensive, and I use those for baking as well, so that's why I've got such a large bag. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Now I'm going to put this back here, and I'll put that in my jar with my lid here in a little while after I get y'all off camera. I'm sure y'all don't want to see that. On to the next one. This one here is a honey and brown sugar scrub. It's got 2 cups of brown sugar, half a cup of olive oil, and 1/4 cup of honey. Now then, I've already got the brown sugar and the olive oil mixed up, so I'm going to go ahead and dump this the honey in there. Honey takes a little bit to drain off, and I used the sunflower oil, so on this one, and I mean, you just use whatever you want, or whatever you got in your kitchen. It doesn't necessarily have to be the olive oil. If all you got is the coconut oil, or a generic olive oil of some type. I mean, you know, it just, whatever you have in your kitchen. If all you have is vegetable oil, which is in the hard form, you can take and melt that down as well. But just remember, if you use the coconut oil, you're going to have to melt it down to pour it into your container. So I would give it like 20 seconds in the microwave and let it cool, and then dump it in. Oh, that honey is sticky. And like I said, this recipe, it was nothing fancy. As you can see, this is the generic brown sugar and olive oil. And like I said, I used the raw honey. And on the other scrub, though, the one that I just done, this one, the lavender one. Now, I did use a organic sugar on that one, and I used a organic sugar on the lavender one, and it was the pure cane sugar. So, you know, it's just whatever you want to use or whatever you happen to have, and I just happen to have that, so that's why I used it. Okay, so now moving on. You really don't need to do anything to this now that the honey's in there, except for incorporate the honey and the oil and the sugar all together. And the other thing is, on the jars, it doesn't really matter. You may not want to put it in something like a flimsy container if you're going to be giving this as a gift, because of course, you know, the container might crack open, or, you know, something to that nature. Get that all incorporated in there pretty good. Alright, well, for the purpose of time, you get the idea of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to incorporate all of that and break it up and make sure it's all good and nicely even through there, the olive oil and the honey. And what I've got here, I don't know, what I've got here is just an old jar, and it's one of those jars that you get, you know, you have like fruits and stuff in them, and this jar was one of those fruits, the fancy fruits. My husband brought it home one night after he went on a hungry binge, and he went to the grocery store and brought home a can of this. And of course, I'm canning. I have all kinds of stuff that's been canned up, and he brings home this. So anyway, I had a leftover jar, so that's what I'm going to put this big 2 cups of brown sugar in. So I saved the jar, and now I don't have to be out any money for the jar because it's a perfectly good jar. I'll put a little bit of decoration on this, or either spray paint the lid, and it'll make a nice gift for somebody. I don't know who, maybe my daughter. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And like I said, if you're into saving money, this is a good way to do it. A day at the spa at home, on a budget. I mean, all of this is already in your kitchen. So hopefully you'll have a great day of beauty and enjoy all of these new little fancy recipes. Y'all have a nice afternoon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Thanks. Bye.